Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text number 55. Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. Yavan Yah cha asmi Tatvatah. Yavan yashasmi Tatvatah. Tatah Mam Tatvatah Gnatva. Tato Mam Tatvato Gnatva. Vishate Tat Anantaram. Vishate Tad Anantaram. Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. Yavan Yashasmi Tatvatah. Tato Mam Tatvato Gnatva. Vishate Tad Anantaram. Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. Yavan Yashasmi Tatvatah. Tato Mam Tatvato Gnatva. Vishate Tad Anantaram. Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. Yavan Yashasmi Tatvatah. Tato Mam Tatvato Gnatva. Vishate Tad Anantaram. Bhaktya, by pure devotional service. Mam, me. Abhijanati, one can know. Yavan, as much as. Yaha cha asmi, as I am. Tatvatah, in truth. Tatah, thereafter. Mam, me. Tatvatah, by truth. Gnatva, knowing. Vishate, enters. Tat, thereafter. Anantaram, after. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. One can understand the Supreme Personality as He is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Translation with repetition. One can understand the Supreme Personality as He is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and His plenary portions cannot be understood by mental speculation nor by the non-devotees. If anyone wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has to take to pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. Otherwise, the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will always be hidden. It is already stated, Naham Prakashaha, that He is not revealed to everyone. Everyone cannot understand God simply by erudite scholarship or mental speculation. Only one who is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service can understand what Krishna is. University degrees are not helpful. One who is fully conversant with the Krishna science becomes eligible to enter into the spiritual kingdom, the abode of Krishna. Becoming Brahman does not mean that one loses his identity. Devotional service is there, and as long as devotional service exists, there must be God, the devotee, and the process of devotional service. Such knowledge is never vanquished even after liberation. Liberation involves getting free from the concept of material life. In spiritual life, the same distinction is there, the same individuality is there, but in pure Krishna consciousness. One should not misunderstand that the word Vishate enters into me supports the monist theory that one becomes homogeneous with the impersonal Brahman. No. Vishate means that one can enter into the abode of the Supreme Lord in his individuality to engage in his association and render service unto him. For instance, a green bird enters a green tree not to become one with the tree, but to enjoy the fruits of the tree. Impersonalists generally give the example of a river flowing into the ocean and merging. This may be a source of happiness for the impersonalist, but the personalist keeps his personal individuality like an aquatic in the ocean. We find so many living entities within the ocean. If we go deep, surface acquaintance with the ocean is not sufficient. One must have complete knowledge of the aquatics living in the ocean depths. Because of his pure devotional service, a devotee can understand the transcendental qualities and the opulences of the Supreme Lord in truth. As it is stated in the 11th chapter, only by devotional service can one understand. The same is confirmed here. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service and enter into his kingdom. After attainment of the Brahmabhuta stage of freedom from material conceptions, devotional service begins by one's hearing about the Lord. When one hears about the Supreme Lord, automatically the Brahmabhuta stage develops, and material contamination, greediness, and lust for sense enjoyment disappears. As lust and desires disappear from the heart of a devotee, he becomes more attached to the service of the Lord. And by such attachment, he becomes free from material contamination. In that state of life, he can understand that the Supreme Lord. This is the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam also. Also after liberation, the process of bhakti or transcendental service continues. The Vedanta Sutra confirms this. Aprayanat tatrapihi drishtam. This means that after liberation, the process of devotional service continues. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, real devotional liberation is defined as a reinstatement of the living entity in his own identity, his constitutional position. The constitutional position is already explained. Every living entity is the part and parcel, fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his constitutional position is to serve. After liberation, this service is never stopped. Actual liberation is getting free from misconceptions of life. Thus ends the Transcendental Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prasharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome everyone to the discussion on power of bhakti as part of Gita Jayanti lecture series. So far we have been discussing various aspects of Bhagavad Gita, and last week we discussed about work as detachment, um, or work with non-attachment, as how to do that from the pages of Bhagavad Gita. And today's topic was power of Bhakti. So why should one practice Bhakti? And is it mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? If it is mentioned, what is so significant about Bhakti that we should actually practice Bhakti? So actually, if one were to look carefully, Bhagavad Gita only talks about Bhakti. There is nothing else that is spoken in Bhagavad Gita. But one may question, why should we discuss about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Ashtanga Yoga, or some other forms of yoga? Why those things are also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So basically, there are people of different ideas. So sometimes it is said that, especially if one were to grow, let's say, rice, okay? Can you grow rice in jungle? No. Why? Yes. So the land has to be cultivable so as to grow rice. It has to be freed from unnecessary trees, plants, and so on and so forth. It must have a certain kind of cultivatable land. So if one has to cultivate rice, one has to remove all the unwanted plants and trees and make it ready to cultivate rice. Similarly, if bhakti has to be cultivated, we have to remove so many unwanted things also. There are so many unwanted notions people have in their mind as how something else is more important, and they think, okay, maybe doing karma is more important. Just like most people read Bhagavad Gita and they say, oh, karma is very important. Bhagavad Gita says about act without attachment. Does not matter what form of action you do, just you simply act and don't worry about result. So people tend to give this kind of interpretations. But or sometimes there are people like Mayavadis or Jnanis who think that, oh, the goal of Bhagavad Gita is to, get intellectual knowledge or speculate on the Supreme as formless, as Brahman, and that is what is being said in Bhagavad Gita. And then there are some other people, the yogis, they may take some other aspects of Bhagavad Gita, and they may think that attaining some yogic perfection is part of Bhakti Yoga. So in this way, people ascribe that there are different aspects which are being mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and they are important. But actually, if one reads carefully, there is only one underlying theme that is mentioned, is Bhakti Yoga. Rest all are meant to explain the comparatively that how bhakti is superior to everything else, and how everything should actually lead to bhakti. Otherwise, there is no value for other things. And the power of bhakti is such that only by this process one can attain certain things. That no other process is capable enough to give what bhakti yoga can give. No other process means neither karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, or some people think, doing some form of charity, penances, some form of, sacrifices. They may give some results. But actually, all those activities one may do, but still the power of bhakti supersedes all those activities. And there are various things that are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as why bhakti is so powerful and why it is so important. We will just cover briefly a few verses to appreciate what Bhagavad Gita is saying about the power of bhakti. And this verse is the first, this first verse we'll take from what we read just today. So, bhaktya mam abhijanati. So this is the first thing that is being said, that the power of bhakti, actually, Srila Rupa Goswami gives, there are 6 characteristics of bhakti. And in that, he says that bhakti attracts Krishna? See, Krishna is the most attractive. The word Krishna means attractive. But what attracts Krishna is bhakti. And therefore, bhakti is said to be more powerful than Krishna, in one sense. So all attractive, all powerful Lord is only attracted by bhakti. Therefore, bhakti is very, very powerful. And here it is being said, why it is powerful? Because bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only by devotional service. In fact, Prabhupada translates the word bhaktya as pure devotional service, by pure devotional service. Only by pure devotional service one can know Krishna. Krishna is adokshaja. Adha, beyond, akshaja, eyes. Is beyond the perception of eyes. Just like we can see things, material things with our eyes. But then there are subtle things, like air, we cannot see with our eyes, but we can feel with our senses, skin. With one sense or the other, we can see, at least feel or get a sense of things. But Krishna is beyond all the senses. No senses can touch him. So how can one understand? If something is beyond one's senses, how is it possible to understand? So there is no other way to understand Krishna except bhakti, devotional service. So, and in fact, pure devotional service, as Prabhupada writes here, only by pure devotional service. And yavan yaschasmi tattvataha, Prabhupada says, one can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. So people try to understand the Supreme Lord in various ways. So some people take to jnana process or speculate on the nature of the Supreme. Or some people take to yoga to understand. But again, in yoga there are different kinds of yogas, and there are materially motivated yoga and yoga to actually pay attention to the Supreme Lord, to see the 400 form of the Lord in the heart. But even that is not enough to see the 200 form of the Lord. To see the 200 form of Lord as Shyamasundara, Krishna, the only process is devotional service. There is no way to see him. There is no way to know him. So this is the only process. As it is also said that there are many other verses which also talk about this. That's how in the 11th chapter, towards the end, there is also the verse which says about how undeviated devotion is the only way to know Krishna. There is no other way to know Krishna except doing undivided devotional service. The verse number is 54. In 11th chapter it says, Bhaktya tu ananyaya sakhya aham evam vido arjuna gnatum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parantapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So here again it's being said, actually the Supreme Lord is not accessible by any other means. So, bhaktya tu ananyaya shakya. Ananyaya means undivided, undeviated devotional service. So only by devotional service one can know Krishna. That is the first aspect, which is not possible to understand by speculation, by any other way. This is first principle. And most importantly, people, when they try to understand Krishna, they imagine something. They try to, be sentimentalist. But here the word that's being used is tattvataha, in truth, as who the Lord is, what is his nature, what are his characteristics. To actually understand who he is, it is not possible by any other means except by devotional service. And in the purport, Prabhupada also writes a very important point, that how this devotional service should be done. Actually, Prabhupada says that if anyone wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has to take to pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. So when we talk about devotional service, we must understand it has to be under the guidance of a pure devotee, a spiritual master. A spiritual master who is a pure devotee can actually guide us in pure devotional service. And only by that process, we can actually understand Krishna as much as he will reveal to us and in truth. And the second power of bhakti that is being mentioned here, which is natural consequence of knowing Krishna, is tato mam tatvato gnatva vishate tad anantaram. So, by rendering devotional service, one can understand Krishna. And when one understands Krishna, in one's consciousness becomes full of Krishna consciousness. So when one understands the Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's a person. He's a person, just like we are persons, he's also a person. And we will understand by devotional service that the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. A person means he has desires, he has likes, he has dislikes. And as soon as we understand that he's a person, then we have to act in a specific way which will please him. That is bhakti. So, anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam ankulyena krishnanushilalam bhaktiruttamam. Srila Rupa Goswami gives a definition of bhakti. Anyabhilashita shunyam. Abhilasha means desire. Anyabhilashita shunyam. He has no other desire. All other desires are zero, except for the desire to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. So bhakti is an activity. Srila Prabhupada translates the word bhakti as devotional service. Service means action. Sometimes people think bhakti means I will think in my mind, I will feel about it, but I will not do it. That is not bhakti. Bhakti means one has to engage one's senses, mind, intellect in the service of the Lord. And how? Anyabhilashita shunyam, with no other desire. We may engage our senses, mind, and intellect in service, but it can be mixed with some other desire. When the desire is to attain liberation while performing devotion, it is Jnana Mishra Bhakti. The bhakti is mixed with some other goal. Or if one wants some material perfection or yogic perfection, then it is Yoga Mishra Bhakti. There is a goal to attain some yogic perfection. Or if someone wants to do some material benefit, one can still perform devotional service with an intent of material gain. But these are not pure devotional service. Pure devotional service means anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. It is free, the desires to acquire knowledge or speculate or to acquire any fruitive benefit from one's own self is not there in pure devotional service. There is nothing that one is interested to gain out of devotional service. One is only thinking what is pleasing to Krishna. I should just do what pleases Krishna. Without any expectation, without any result. And how should one do that? Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam, in the way Krishna is pleased. Someone may say, oh, I want to bring money for Krishna, Lakshmi for Krishna. I'll go to the bank and rob. No. Krishna wants in a specific way, then it has to be done in a specific way under the guidance of a spiritual master. How do we know what Krishna wants? We have to function under the guidance of a pure devotee spiritual master. Or read his books, read books like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, which talk about what is there in the heart of the Lord. So just like in this Bhagavad Gita, Lord is revealing what is in his heart. So he is giving various instructions as what is that he wants us to do. So we can see, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyachi mam namaskuru mam eva shasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. So the Lord is saying what he wants us to do. He is saying 4 things for us to do. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. So manmana, always thinking about me. The Lord wants us to think of him. And become my devotee. Mad bhaktaha bhava. Just become my devotee. He wants all of us, by our activities, we should become his devotees. Madhyaji, worship me. In this age of Kali Yuga, it is very easy to worship Lord Krishna simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we are worshipping the literary incarnation of the Lord. Mam namaskuru, offer your obeisances unto me. If you simply see a picture of the Lord, come to the temple, the deity in front of the Lord, we offer our obeisances. That is devotional service. Anukulyana Krishna Anusilanam. So when we render our activities, which is free from any other desire except the desire to please the Lord, in a way which the Lord wants, which is favorable for the Lord, that way if one renders service, that is pure devotional service. And the pure devotional service when rendered, one can know Krishna. And second thing is, one becomes, as soon as one knows Krishna, one becomes Krishna conscious and develops devotion to the Lord. And when one becomes Krishna conscious and develops devotion to the Lord, Vishate tad anantaram, he enters into the spiritual kingdom. He becomes eligible to go back to the spiritual world. Actually, we are all suffering because of our sinful activities. In the past, we have done some sinful activity because of which there is a reaction. So we are all undergoing suffering. We are all undergoing miseries of different kinds. Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik. Miseries because of our body and mind. Miseries because of some other living entities. Or miseries because of natural calamities, too cold, too hot. Something is not nice around us, some insect, some animal. So we are always suffering from one of the 3 kinds of miseries, or all 3 of them, or 2 of them. Some of the sinful reactions are mature, that means we are suffering now. We did something in the past, and now we are suffering for it. And some are immature, they are yet to be fructified. We have done something, the result has not come, it will come very soon. And unfortunately, we are still doing some sinful activities now for which we have to pay a price later. So our suffering is going on like this. On top of that, we also have the 4 problems of birth, death, old age, and disease. Actually, we are so ignorant. Srila Prabhupada in lecture is saying that actually we are all thinking we are making advancement. Someone is making a new motor car, someone is trying to do some AI, something, and they are thinking we are making advancement. Actually, the real problem is not solved. The real problem of birth, death, old age, and disease is no one is solving. And yet they are feeling they are happy, thinking there is some advancement. And Prabhupada says this is Maya or illusion. The real problem is not solved, and the real suffering of sinful activities is not solved. The miseries of life is not solved. I'm not thinking about these things at all. I'm thinking about so many other things, and I'm trying to solve all of them, forgetting the real problems, real miseries, and the real reactions to my sinful activities. Just see how everyone is suffering. And yet one is aloof to the idea that I'm suffering. But devotional service is such that it can actually free one from the reactions of sinful activities. So powerful. In another place, Uddhava says that just like if there is a fire, any amount of wood you supply will be burned to ashes. You see, there's fire, you put any amount of wood into it, it consumes. Similarly, devotional service can consume any amount of sinful activities that you have performed. Similarly, the example is another example that is given so there is another verse which says that, so it says, Kechit kevalya bhaktya vasudeva parayanaha agham dhunmanti karsneya niharam iva bhaskaraha. Only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. So just like the sun rises and comes, fog can go away. So similarly, only the weeds of sinful actions which are present in us can go away by bhakti. So if you do not take to bhakti, that sinful tendencies remain. Even by karma yoga, jnana yoga, so-called ashtanga yoga, the weeds of sinful actions, the tendencies, they still remain. But here it is being said, one can uproot the weeds, uproot completely, with no chance of coming back. So bhakti is so powerful because there is no other way to cleanse our heart from these different sinful tendencies. And unless we don't cleanse our heart, we cannot understand Krishna. And there are so many other benefits, or the power of bhakti, as we have very few minutes. So I'll not be able to cover everything here, but Prabhupada is talking a few things in the purport, and then I'll briefly explain a few other things which are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada says, so Prabhupada is quoting about a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which says, basically, which begins with Shrunvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridyantosto hi abhadrani vidhunoti sruhut satam. Shrunvatam swakatha Krishna. So when actually one starts hearing about Krishna, that is also a part of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So these are the 9 ways of performing devotional service. And one of them is Shravanam, hearing about the Lord. Actually, devotional service is so nice that actually Lord helps the devotee to make progress. Unlike any other process of yoga or any other process to attain a specific goal, one has to work on one's own abilities. But devotional service is so nice that the Lord actually benefits the devotee who is trying to do bhakti. And then what happens, this lower modes of nature, the modes of passion, ignorance, which are contaminating one's heart to do various activities, they will subside because of doing this devotional service. And that desire to enjoy material things will vanquish from one's heart. So, to mention another point, the Lord helps the devotee who is practicing Bhakti Yoga. Unlike in other yogas, one has to do one's own hard work. And next, Bhakti Yoga is very simple. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Even a poor man can find little water, little tulsi leaf, a small fruit, and offer to the Lord. So easy. Just like Sudama Vipra, he just gave a handful of chipped rice to the Lord. Lord very willingly accepted Just a little bit of chipped rice, nothing fancy. But when it is given with devotion, the Lord accepts. So Bhakti Yoga is very simple. Chanting Hare Krishna is very simple. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is very simple. So Bhakti Yoga is also powerful because it is very simple. Bhakti Yoga is also very nice because it gives us the personal protection of the Lord. The Lord actually protects the devotee in this journey. Anyone who renders a little devotional service, the Lord is very much captivated. And He doesn't want to leave that devotee till he attains perfection. A little call of Krishna, Krishna notes it. Oh, someone called me. A single name, and He's always waiting, how can I bring this living entity back? So Lord's personal attention and protection comes because of bhakti, a little bhakti. And then the Lord also gives intelligence, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. The Lord who is seated in the heart gives the knowledge to a sincere devotee. Oh, he wants to come back to me. So He will guide him to a pure devotee of the Lord as spiritual master. He would guide him as Shaitya Guru to understand his message from a pure devotee of the Lord. And Bhakti Yoga is so nice that even, it is said in the 9th chapter, that even if one may be sinful, apichet suddharacharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhur eva samantavya samyak vyavasito isaha. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. So in the past, one may be so many different things, but if one takes to devotional service and properly situated, then one can be freed from all those past things. So it does not even require past qualification to practice Bhakti Yoga. Would have done so many wrong things, but now he is properly situated, is all good. There is no account for the past. So in this way, there are so many wonderful things about Bhakti Yoga. Is the actual process, is the only process that Bhagavad Gita is teaching. And we should try to read more Srila Prabhupada's books and appreciate that and practice as guided by Srila Prabhupada. We'll stop here. Granth Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you all for joining. Hare Krishna.